Hi, this is Swan with Swan Amity Studios, and we hope you've been enjoying the Summer Scrap Elimination program. And if you haven't, please visit us at swanamity.com. That's SWANAMITY.com. And check out the blog page, where every year we have 6 blogs over the course of the summer, each one of them giving you a free pattern, and this is year 4. So you have quite a few in there to read back through if you haven't been a summer scrap eliminator in the past. This time around we are working with a basic rail fence, and we have cut our initial pieces 3 inches across by 8 inches down. And as you put those all 3 together, you will end up with a block that is 8 inches by 8 inches. If you are working with disappearing blocks in the past, you know that once you have bisected them, however is indicated in the pattern, you can move all of the pieces in different ways in order to create new shapes and new block patterns. In this case, in the blog that we have related to the disappearing rail fence, we are going to be looking at taking 2 rail fence blocks and putting them together to create a larger block that gives you multiple configuration options. Let's look at our first one, and I already have 2 blocks cut apart for us, so I'm going to set this one aside. We're going to start with a red block and an orange block. We have a darker outside on both of them and a lighter side opposite on each one. And in both cases, we're pressing across the block, so progressively towards the next darkest color. We press towards the orange, towards the red, towards the darker color, towards the darker color. I'm going to start by taking everything that I have here and flipping it in some different directions. I'm going to take the side pieces out first and start by putting these 2 together at the top. I'm then going to see how the other 2 partner up in the sequence, and perhaps I would like to add one to the bottom and one to the side. And now we have a diamond shape. Now, in order to avoid things being on point, we want to make sure that we square this block out with the other pieces that we have from the second block. Let's go ahead and take, first of all, our piece with the largest dark portion and square off one corner. And then we're going to take our piece with the lightest portion and square off the bottom corner. We're then going to take our piece with the light triangle at the top, square off the top. That means that all of these seams will nest here in the top, and square off the bottom. No seams to nest, no seams to nest, no seams to nest. This block goes together neatly. Now keep in mind that because these look really lined up, they look like they're all going to line up in the block in the finished product. But because these are lined up and they're on a diagonal at the beginning, they will not line up. Let's look at a completed block to see what that will look like in the end. The completed block, you can see the V is going to get cut off just a little bit there at the bottom. These seams will not nest, and so you won't end up with that V shape that it looks like you might get from this variation. Now, I really like this variation. This is the one you're going to see in the finished product quilt, but you are also going to see images of the other layouts. So let's take a look at some of the other options that you might have. Let's start with one where we are going to end up with an X in the center. Once again, we've started with that center diamond shape, and we're going to add on to the exterior so that we create some illusions of on point, but we're not actually dealing with anything on point. I'm going to bring that dark one up there in the corner. I'm going to put a dark one on top on the other side, and I'm going to put my light ones at the bottom, putting the red opposite of the red and the orange opposite of the orange. Now, of course, you could also move some of these things around, and if you were looking to have something where your darks ended up in opposite corners, this would also be a lovely configuration, and you only have to move one piece. Now the other one I really liked because this was my second favorite variation, but then I saw one that didn't at first occur to me, and now it's kind of become the next thing I'd like to use this particular design for. So let's jettison our blocks again and start fresh one more time. And this time I'm going to take the red pieces and start with them at the bottom. This time I'm not starting in that center to get that diamond shape. So we're going to start at the bottom. Notice I'm bringing these two together. The seam will not nest, but you could always flip one of these the other direction and get a nesting seam if you would like to. Personally, I'd probably do that were it me. I'm then going to take one of our other guys here. See why I would flip that seam? Because these will all nest neatly on this side. That's great. And then I'm going to come over here and partner this guy up. And this is why I might actually choose not to change this seam. These nest here, these nest here. I only have one non-nesting seam, and I'd probably just be okay with that. Now we're going to come up to the top of the block, and I'm going to choose the piece that matches the red that we started with, and I'm going to partner that with the same dark piece from the same red block. I'm going to put that up there at the top, and then we're going to come in and do the other side. There's the orange with the dark at the top, and partnering in the orange with the light so that our orange matches up here and our light matches up here. And now we end up with kind of a block that I didn't think would be as fun as it is until you start putting so many of them together, as you can see in the blog. Anytime that I'm creating these particular scenarios, I'm looking to put together all of the 45-degree angle seams first. So this block, this block, this block, this block. Then I will go ahead and stitch together the bottom of the block and stitch together the top of the block. I will be pressing towards the dark, and in this case it doesn't matter, so we'll press the opposite direction, and then we'll stitch that long seam together. If you haven't already taken a look at how to press a 4-patch seam on my YouTube, this is a great time to do that so that your seams will all press in the same direction all the way around your block. This is more likely to give you a neatly nesting block with the next block next to it and the row above it as well as the row below it. In these cases, you're going to get the best possible seaming and the best possible nesting. Thank you so much for joining Swan Amity Studios for the Summer Scrap Elimination this year. I hope to see you back again next year with all new projects, and we'll have another great time stitching with the only elimination diet every quilter needs, the Summer Scrap Elimination. Thank you so much, and don't forget to like the YouTube channel and subscribe.